Good morning. This is Ravi Shankar from our Create Labs. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Trauma Head Sharma. Mr. Trauma Head Sharma is a comprehensive clinical examination model depicting cranio-maxillofacial fractures. The features which this examination model provides is frontal bone fractures, zygomatic orbital complex fractures, all the levels of Lefort fractures and multiple mandibular fractures. This model is ideal for teaching your students and your team complex comprehensive trauma hurt head scenarios, and it will come with a mask, a latex mask, which we will use half of this so that you are able to palpate and feel the different areas, so that in the end you can teach your team skills related to maxillofacial assessments.
I am Dr. Sharma, a maxillofacial surgeon and one of the clinical lead investigators of this project for creating this comprehensive examination of cranio-maxillofacial trauma head model. This model has been created with an emergency medicine clinical person in mind, and the day-to-day clinical fractures what he will be encountering in the casualty, and so that he can have a basic clinical examination done and he can give the right reference to the right person at the right time. This model from the top to bottom depicts the cranial frontal bone depression fractures, the zygomatico-orbital bone fractures, the maxillary Lefort fractures and the mandibular fractures. Going from the top, the frontal bone is usually fractures, it has a depression which we can clinically palpate. The next we have the frontozygomatic fracture, where this suture is palpated as a sharp projection on skin. On the left side what we can see is a depressed malar region and also a zygomatic arch fracture, a very common scenario indeed. This also involves the orbital complex, where there is orbital dystopia, and we can also feel the enophthalmos, as well as clinically we can see a diplopia. Next, coming on to the maxillary fractures, first we will see the Lefort 3 fractures involving the bilateral frontozygomatic regions. Next, the infraorbital regions. Extend this fracture extending on to the pterygoid plates. This is another feature of it is this is a very classical feature of the Lefort 2 fractures are this pyramidal shape of fracture line with a mid-face depression. This model also depicts the palatal split and loss of occlusion, as we see. Coming on to the mandibular fractures, we have the condylar neck fractures on this side, the parasymphyseal fractures, the dentoalveolar fractures, and the angle fractures. Typically, this model it will allow us to examine intraorally by palpating all the fractures. For example, if we see the angle fracture, we can palpate the step in the angle fracture. Intraorally, we will be able to see the loss of occlusion, which is a very critical feature in determining the treatment plan. Second model is a comprehensive treatment planning model based on evidence-based scientific principles. Here what you can see is 3 lines in 3 colors. One is a red line depicting the fracture lines, and the blue line and the green line. The blue line is called the horizontal buttress line. The green lines are called the vertical buttress lines. In mandible, these lines, the horizontal buttresses and the vertical buttress lines, are commonly called as Chamfy's lines of osteosynthesis. So, comprehensively speaking, all the treatment plans, basically the open reduction and internal fixation with these titanium plates and screws, follow these scientific guidelines which needs to be satisfied.